right now in the Middle East, a high stakes standoff is reaching a boiling point. The United States has initiated an aggressive military posture against Iran. The immediate strategy centers on the water. The US is attempting to enforce a strict naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz with the specific goal of isolating Iran's oil supply from the global market by choking this vital maritime choke point. This chart shows the immediate economic fallout. You can see a sharp, volatile surge in global crude oil prices, recently hitting a staggering $115 per barrel. The tension in the water is directly impacting the global market. The US military pressure is certainly squeezing Iran's economy, but the ripple effects are traveling much further. The friction generated in this narrow strait is creating a geopolitical shockwave that is actively fracturing decades old alliances across the globe. In the modern, highly interconnected 21st century, military blockades rarely result in a clean pause of trade. Instead, they force an unpredictable chain reaction. Nations are forced to adapt, and in the process, traditional empires fracture and global trade routes are entirely rewritten. We are already seeing the first major casualty of this regional pressure. The United Arab Emirates is breaking away from OPEC, the 60-year-old alliance that has largely controlled the world's oil supply. On the surface, this split comes down to pure economics. The UAE is openly clashing with Saudi Arabia over restrictive production quotas that limit how much oil member states can actually sell. The Emiratis have aggressive financial ambitions. They plan to boost daily oil production from roughly 3.4 million to 5 million barrels by 2027. They need this raw volume to fund their long-term economic transition away from fossil fuels. But look past the quotas and a deeper geopolitical reality emerges. The region is highly volatile, punctuated by recent drone and missile attacks originating from Iran that have specifically targeted UAE energy infrastructure. This creates an impossible situation for Abu Dhabi. They cannot remain tied to a production cartel when a fellow member, Iran, is actively threatening the very export routes they need to sell that oil. Critics of the move claim the UAE is effectively trading its 60-year sovereignty for a direct security and protection umbrella provided by Washington. In this view, Abu Dhabi is prioritizing American defense guarantees over its historical role in the oil cartel. Whether it's driven by production limits or security fears, the UAE's exit proves a larger point. Nations are deciding that total sovereign control over their resources and unilateral protection deals are far more valuable than rigid historical alliances. Meanwhile, back in the Strait of Hormuz, the US Navy continues its maritime blockade, locking down the water. But as they do, a massive strategic vulnerability is opening up on land. Because the US entirely controls the sea, Iran has simply decided to bypass the ocean altogether.